What's up, everybody? Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're in the house tonight. Got a bunch of things to kind of talk about. We're going to talk about prison. We'll talk about what's going on over there in Jacksonville, Duval County Jail. We're going to talk about the lady on the thumbnail, Kellie Wasko. We're going to talk about Kellie. We're going to talk about Sylvester Pacheco, what happens to him, and what, pretty much that prison system over there tries to do in South Dakota to other people. But this is what happens. We're gonna do a bunch of prison content tonight. We'll also talk about that nutcase, right, who offs his parents. This dude offs his parents and has a plan for Trump. Whoa, you have got to be the dumbest. Let me just pull up a couple things so we can get into it. Let me make sure the volume's down over here. Hopefully this isn't staticky. Still working, got the studio almost all the way done. So you guys stay tuned for that. Live interviews. We got a lineup already on there of dudes that are going to come in and do live, well, not live interviews, but in-person interviews. Let me pull this up so I can see all of my comments. If it's staticky, let me know. I want to know if it's staticky. Where can I buy the audiobook at? You can send me an email after we're done today, and I'll try to shoot out some audiobooks tonight to people. If you want to make a donation tonight while we're doing the live, that's cool. I used to sell them books for $25 for the audiobooks. And it all goes towards a good thing. And we'll also talk about the reentry house, right? Let me get on here so that we're there. The guy that we're going to talk about tonight and kind of, what's going on. And if people want to write letters to this chick, I'm going to put to the secretary of the prison system. I remember in 2024, a bunch of the staff members wanted her out of there anyway. But, a lot of people are incompetent. We'll talk a little bit about the BOP director, too, because we're going to talk about prison tonight, right? We're going to talk about the people that are in charge and how they place people's lives in danger, how they have no compassion, how they have no remorse, and how they teach people or actually treat people like you're in a third world country. I don't know, because I didn't do this from StreamYard, because, again, as you guys know before, somehow my camera on my computer is blocked from doing lives from my PC, so I got to do it from here. I did want to bring this kid on to talk live, but we might have to do it at another time. Maybe I can do it through StreamYard or something like that. But we definitely got a bunch of things to talk about, and we're definitely going to talk about Sylvester. We're going to talk about Kellie Wasko. Anybody that wants to send a letter in support for this brother, Native American. I know we got a lot of Native Americans that tune in. You want to pen a letter to this lady and say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Then I'm asking you to do it. The address will be in there. His name and everything will be in there. Say, hey, pretty much, I'm writing in reference to Sylvester Pacheco, and you'll have his prison ID number. Everything will be in the description. So anybody that's out there watching tonight, if you can support Sylvester and what he's trying to get done, that would be very helpful before something happens to him. Amy, I see you're in the house. I got this whole thing. Look, man, I was trying to put this thing together today, man. We got the big old thing so we weren't staticky. I got a bunch of stuff to put together. Got the studio, man. Amazon didn't send us everything that we were waiting on, but, we're getting that thing together. Wednesday will be back into effect. So let me tell you a little bit about Sylvester Pacheco, right? And what he's going through right now. And we all know, like I've talked about the prison system in Alabama, absolutely vicious. Talked about the prison system in Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. You've probably seen that Mississippi burning. I think it was on A&E. Jay-Z was involved in that. I think that they had put out like a documentary on that, on all the stuff that was going on over there. People were dying. Man, I got 3 cameras, bro. This is one of them. Got all kinds of cameras in here, man. But I'm using my cell phone, my iPhone 14 tonight to do the live. Hopefully it's going good and it's not all staticky and all of that bullshit, right? Let me turn off that microphone so maybe that'll be better. But we got all kinds of things getting ready to go on, right? So let me tell you about Sylvester's, serving like, what was Sylvester serving? I think 40, 45 years. He ends up getting a clemency, right? He's going to get out of prison. Imagine that. You're doing 45 years, you get a clemency, and something breaks out. Something breaks out at the prison that he's at in South Dakota, okay? And pretty much, he's not involved. He's not involved at all. But he kind of like, I guess you could say to a certain extent, he's someone that people look up to in prison. The Native Americans look up to him. He's doing a bunch of bead work over there. View deleted message. Hey, man, you know what? This dude's out of here. Sometimes we have people that come in here and they act like, they're just, they're ass clowns. So we got to get rid of them because we're talking about some serious stuff, right? We're going to talk about the reentry house tonight too, but want to talk about Sylvester, right? There was a physical altercation between the GDs and the MS-13 dudes, right? Physical confrontation. Some people get demolished over there. Just everything goes bad. And what happens is, I'm thirsty as hell. Don't mind me if I drink. I know I'm in this podcast class. They're like, you can't be drinking water at the podcast when you're doing a podcast. It's not a good look. Well, we're going to drink a little water. That way we can keep talking. So there's this thing between MS and the GDs. And Sylvester has no involvement. He's not a GD. He's not an MS. He's none of that stuff, right? This happens in June 2024, right? June 9th, 2024. There's a battle. The police come in. They end up finally getting control of the place. I mean, this thing went on for a little while. They finally get control of the place, and they come get Sylvester, who's a leader, and they're like, hey, look, check this out. He's not a leader of the GDs. He's not a leader of the MS. He's someone that his people look up to. Don't confuse leader with being a prison gang shot caller. Don't confuse that, right? And what they do is they say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send you over to Mississippi. So now it's going to be a teachable moment for people tonight too, right? Because you might not realize this. You could be in federal prison, and those of you who remember my cellie, Aaron Pike, Antoinette and Sylvester are on the phone. There's no way for me to connect them because my PC is not allowing me to connect them. I wish that I could connect them, but we're going to have to do another one on StreamYard, and we'll bring Sylvester on and he can talk. But what happens is they take Sylvester, they send him over to Mississippi, they put him in close custody. He's not a Mississippi prisoner, but what they do is they contract with other prisons, right? And what better place than to send someone, from South Dakota to Mississippi, far away from his family, and they do it with no due process. We hear all the stuff about due process, about, these dudes being sent over to El Salvador prisons. It's wrong. Well, what happened to Sylvester Pacheco, who's a Native American brother, is wrong. There was no due process. Nothing. And they take his clemency from him. He's about to get out of prison. And they take Sylvester's clemency from him, right? There's no finding of guilt, that he committed any violations, that he did any acts of violence. None of that. Matthew says, I was in Mac's unit with him after that happened. They shipped a bunch of other natives out too. So they target the Native American brothers over in South Dakota, right? You already know, man, we can get into all that other stuff about how the land was taken. And so anyway, they take them, they send them over to Mississippi, right? We all know that Mississippi's probably one of the most dangerous prison systems in the country. Out of control. Closed custody, locked in a cell. Pretty much, man, they're violating this dude's rights in every single way, right? And, we'll talk about a little bit about what happens in Mississippi. They send him over there. No other Native Americans in his unit, around him, anywhere, right? So you pretty much put this dude in one of the most violent prisons. But why? Kellie Wasko should answer this question. Why? Are you going to say it was for the safety and security of the facility of South Dakota? Was Sylvester really that strong? Are you serious? She's lying, man. You send this dude over here. You send this dude over here to pretty much get him killed. That's what they did. Someone said, man, you know what? We don't like Sylvester. We don't like Sylvester Pacheco. So let's get Sylvester sent over to one of the most dangerous prison systems in the country. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So they contract him out with no due process, no finding of guilt that he committed any type of acts. And pretty much Mississippi answers one of his administrative remedies and says, hey, it's for, the conduct that you committed while you were over there. But there was no conduct committed by him. Let's look at the Mississippi Department of Corrections, right? So we can talk a little bit about this. Between December 2019 and early 2020, at least 24 prisoners died in Mississippi in that Department of Corrections, right? 5 deaths occurring within a 2-week span. The period was described as one of the bloodiest in the state's prison history. I actually was in contact with a guy who needed a compassionate release. That was the actual shot caller of that stuff, Derek. We'll just say his first name, right? Derek, he was a GD. He was a shot caller over there. And he was involved in all kinds of stuff over there. Ended up with an additional 20 years. Several Mississippi Department of Correctional facilities have been found to violate inmates' constitutional rights. Absolutely filthy. Police have no control. This is when shit gets real, right? You might have seen this video the other day where, and we're still on Mississippi, but where they got this white dude tied up, hands behind his back, tied to his legs. He's kind of hog-tied. They put him in the shower. They turn on the water, and there's nothing he can do but just lay there. And what happens when the water starts rising? You know what happens. So, you don't want to be in places like this. So if you're listening in and you're out there and you're in the streets, you're committing crimes, these are the places you don't want to be. And the goal here is, obviously Sylvester's going to file a Bivens Action 1983 claim. He's filing a due process violation in the state court in South Dakota. And we're asking everybody to write letters. If you care about criminal justice reform, you care about people being violated, you care about due process, because I know a lot of people are upset about the dude from Maryland that they sent over to El Salvador. This is the same type of thing that's happening to someone that's a citizen of this country. Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchman, right? This is the Department of Justice investigation. A report from April 2002 revealed that inmates were not adequately protected from physical violence and lacked proper mental health care, resulting in serious harm. Central Mississippi Correctional Facility, South Mississippi Correctional Institution. In February 2024, the DOJ found these facilities failed to protect inmates from violence, did not control contraband, and inadequately investigated incidents, all contributing to unsafe environments. When you meet dudes that are in prison, right, a lot of dudes, man, when they go to a wild prison, they're like, yo, I can do what I want. Yo, it's wide open. Yo, man, they got everything you need. They got jacks. When I say jacks, I'm talking about cell phones. They got jacks in here, man. They got everything. They got the wine flowing. But most prisoners, they go to a prison like that, they're like, damn, this shit is off the chain. Some dudes, especially when you're doing a lot of time, are just trying to live their lives, man. But this is the reality of prison. This is the reality. A 2012 Department of Justice report described conditions as among the worst in any facility anywhere in the nation. Mississippi, highlighting issues like misconduct and adequate protection from harm. A 2013 class action lawsuit alleged that inmates lived in barbaric and horrific conditions with inadequate mental health care and rampant violence. If you've seen Mississippi burning, you've seen them dudes in cells. Fire everywhere, smoke inhalation. Because the staff don't have control. Not only do they not have enough staff, but they don't have control. And now you have Sylvester, who gets shipped there with no due process, families in South Dakota, and Kellie Wasko decides, you know what? I don't care about the rules. I don't care about due process. Really, I don't think she's that competent. I just think that she... Let me know if you can hear me right now. If you can't, we'll restart the stream. Okay, am I good now? We got sound? Okay, I think we're back in effect. All right. This pisses me off, but it's all right. We're here. Michael Saylor, listen, big dog, me and you are doing an interview tomorrow, hopefully. It's my old celly man, did like 20 years. We're going to bring him on too. Daniel Pacheco, Beav is my big brother. He was the president of a nonprofit in the prison called the Lakota Council of Tribes. DOC hated him because he made life better for natives. So I believe this dude is targeted, right, in South Dakota. And now, because I think our volume went out, let's talk a little bit about, like I was saying earlier, the whole due process thing, right? You see the dude gets sent over from El Salvador. People are going nuts. They're like, hey, look, check this out. This dude deserves due process. The same thing should be said about Sylvester Pacheco, right? And we need people to come out and write letters, man. We're going to post all the information in the description after the video. Write letters for Sylvester, right? There's a dude that the powwow we had in prison was one of the biggest in the state. You know, this dude, he's in Mississippi State Prison, where pretty much there's no control. Like I was saying earlier, some people like prisons where, you know, the cops have no control and, you know, things are flowing and you can get jacks and you can do this, you can do that. But when people start dying and people start getting stabbed, then people start saying, damn, bro, I wish the cops had control. They might not admit it publicly or to anyone else, but not everybody, but about 95% of the people in the prison, even the tough guys, even the shot callers, start wishing like, damn, man, I wish this wasn't like this. So, you know, when we talk about the Mississippi burning thing, and, you know, with Jay-Z, the documentary over there, you can kind of see, you can kind of see what's going on, you know, like how people are living and the dangerous conditions that they're in, you know, and again, I'm asking all our supporters, all our family on Blood on the Razor Wire, log on, check out what we put in the description and write this lady a letter and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. This guy deserves due process. Housing him in Mississippi with no other natives in a very dangerous environment puts him at risk of losing his life. I'm gonna post some pictures up in the community page so you guys can see what he looks like. You see him on the front of the thumbnail, but we got some other pictures of Sylvester Beaver. But dude needs support right now. Sorry about that. We're back again. We'll see what happens. We're back again. We'll see what happens. You should be able to hear me in 1 minute. Can you guys hear me right now? Says, don't commit a crime. Alberto Abel Gomez says, don't commit a crime. Let me tell you something. I'm still in touch with Tommy, yes. All right, so this dude says, don't commit a crime, right? So let me ask you something. If you commit a crime and you go to prison, you think the cops should be able to beat the brakes off? You think they should be able to put you, you know, that far away in another state, away from your family? Do you think the cops in New York, you know, just because dude was in prison, that, you know, they should beat you to death? I don't know. Don't go to prison. I love guys like that, right? Don't go to prison. Yeah, okay. People make mistakes. But let me tell you something. The punishment, and I've said this 1,000 times, the punishment comes from the court. It don't come from prison staff. It don't come from the prison environment. So, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about what I was saying earlier when we went out. You know, the biggest thing is that the biggest thing here is this, right? You can't live lawlessly, right? The cops, right? They're there for what? Safety and security of the facility. So when you get things like the Robert Brooks thing or the other thing, them other cops in New York getting ready to get indicted, right? For that. Then you have the thing in the Duval County Jail. I put up that short today, right? Dude, check this out. 9 cops on that dude, right? He's got the food card. He's kind of in there for some bullshit because they're letting him out of jail anyway. And pretty much, you know, something this small in prison with the cops can turn into this big thing where people are losing their lives. That's the reality of prison, right? Cops are pretty much decimating dudes. And then they all started scrambling, right? He's brain dead on Monday. He's in the hospital. They get his release papers together for Tuesday, and they have a thing on there that says he couldn't sign for his release on his own recognizance because of medical issues. Oh, medical issues. Dude's brain dead from getting the brakes beat off him by cops. Come on, man. Are you crazy? Don't commit crimes and don't go to jail. Okay. So even if you do commit a crime, I guess to this guy, you know, cops should be able to beat the brakes off you and pretty much put you to sleep. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. But like I was saying, man, Sylvester needs some support. Need people to come out and support him. All the information will be on the video after the video's over. Please come back, do a rewind, check out that information, cut and paste it. We're gonna pull up Kellie Wasko's email. You know, maybe you can send over an email over there and support Sylvester and say, hey, look, pretty much he didn't get any due process. He didn't do anything at the prison, yet you transferred him and put him in a prison where there's a very good possibility that he could be killed. So, you know, we want people to pretty much get her attention. But we'll probably get her attention with this federal lawsuit. And if something, you know, God forbid anything happens to this dude, praying that nothing happens to Sylvester, right, the Beaver. But if something happens to Sylvester, then they're all put on notice. He should have never been sent there. No due process, didn't violate any of the rules, pretty much got moved because he was a Native American. And we're not on no racial bullshit. Pretty much got moved because he was a Native American. that they didn't like because he was helping his people. Thank you, Chad. The violence is so dark and it has continued. Moving my brother didn't stop anything. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I had a guy hit me up. I got another guy moved recently. Got another guy that we got to try to get moved tomorrow. We do all that stuff too. So if you need help, you can always reach out to us. Federal Prison Freedom Fighters, come check us out. freedomfighterspc.com. That's our website. If you need help with any post-conviction, anything like that, clemency, administrative remedies, you're in the wrong place, get with us, man. I respect you for mentioning the BOP. No one else mentions it. We're going to talk about the BOP in a minute, too. New director over there in the BOP. I'm going to do a little clip on this in the next day or two. Career law enforcement from West Virginia. People are like, well, what about their victims? What are you doing to help them? Dude, I do all kinds of stuff to help you. You don't even know who I am, dude. You have no clue who I am. You ever want to, come on live and debate it? We can. I'll bring you on, bro. I do all kinds of things in the community, bro. You have no idea. I also got a reentry house, man. And I think we got 16 people or 16 beds. We got some beds to fill. We got some people over there. Michael Saylor, Chad wrote me a couple badass motions. Thank you, brother. Billy boy. Hey, Chad, you were putting in serious work, big dog. So let me tell you something, man. What are we doing for the community and the victims? When we put a reentry house together, right? You think it's just for the dudes that got out of prison? You think it's just for the dudes that are struggling for addiction? It's not. It's also for the community. You might think that a place like that pollutes the community, but it helps the community. Why? Because we're trying to help these dudes become real men, real fathers, real leaders, getting them out there, helping them get jobs, giving them housing. And if they're working jobs and they got food to eat, they're not out committing crimes. They're not out stealing people's stuff, right? They're really trying to get it together, man. Chad let his children know he loves them. Yeah, so, man, it's not about me, man. It's not about me. No, not at all. It's about the people, man. It's not about race. It's not about white. It's not about black. It's not about Spanish. It's about really uplifting people, man. It's about keeping the community safer. It's about, these dudes coming home from prison, like I said, being real fathers, so that they stop that vicious cycle of your dad went to prison, now you went to prison, now your son's going to be going to prison. Why? No father in the household, man. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it's about. That's why we're on here tonight. That's why we're talking about Sylvester. Sylvester's a dude that turned his life around, committed a crime, went to prison, turned his life around, helped his people, ready to go home and be a father and a husband. Got his clemency taken. He'd be a fool to be granted clemency with a 40-something year sentence and then to go mess it up for some prison politics. Come on, man. Michael Wooten, I just seen your email. What's up, man? Listen, it's not about me. It's about the people, man. We were at the reentry house. I'm going to tell you something. They didn't monetize that video. That's how YouTube does us, right? Positive video, reentry, dudes changing their life, and they said that it wasn't going to be monetized because there was drug use in the video. Get the where I didn't see any drug use in the video. Are you serious? That was, I did that stuff in prison, man. I taught classes, helped write the reentry program at Raybrook, taught Leaders Breed Leaders over there, Alternative Violence Project seminars. That's what I did for the community and the victims, man. Try to help these dudes get out so they don't victimize other people, right? So it helps the community too, and the people that are actually in prison. But that's what I did. It's been a while. You guys got a glimpse of me, kind of speaking and working with people, and that's how I taught classes, man. That's what mattered. Tony Montana, yes, he's guilty. Committed a robbery. Be the first one to admit that he deserved to be punished. Been in prison 14, 15 years. He deserved to be punished. But the taxpayers shouldn't be paying to keep imprisoning Sylvester, right? And you know why? Because he's rehabilitated. He's not a threat to public safety anymore. Not only did he pay his dues, finally free from federal, brother, we're talking about a Native American brother tonight. We're trying to help him. Glad you stopped in. You guys may remember we interviewed this brother as well. We're talking about prison. We're talking about crime. We're talking about the streets. Stay tuned. I've been slacking on the interviews because I've been putting a lot of stuff together. And once that studio's in order, you guys will see, man, we'll be doing some in-person interviews. And I think things are going to things might look up. They might not. We'll see what happens, right? But again, when the video's over, man, if you can, man, pen a little letter to these people, jump on the email. We're going to put that stuff in the description. It's important, man. It's important that we help support this dude. It's important that we not only, support him, but that we let them know that there's a lot of people out here that are pushing for this, brother. And we're going to do an update in a week. And I'm going to ask you to shoot some more over that way. Shoot some more emails over to them, man. There was a dude that left a comment today that I had read. He said, man, when I first, seen Chad come up on YouTube, I thought he was arrogant, thought he was cocky, didn't like him. But then he's like, look, man, I've seen you over the last 4 years, the things that you do, man, and I appreciate you. So if you're watching tonight, bro, I definitely appreciate that. You know what I mean? Never meant to come across as cocky or anything like that, but I don't know. Some people think that stuff about, a lot of New Yorkers are like that, I guess. But, when you dig deep, man, sometimes, man, there's more underneath, right? I don't do what I do because I want people to be like, hey, look at Chad. He's a great dude. Man, all that's nonsense. I'm just a regular dude, man, that was suffering. I'm just a regular dude that was caught up. I'm just that kid that was, Chad is somehow humble and cocky at the same time. I was just that dude, man, that got caught up and went to prison, man, with a boatload of time. Realized that, man, this isn't the life that I really want to live. I've seen the ins and outs of prison. I've been in every level of security. I've been in maximum security USP for many years. Been in FCIs many years. Went to a FMC Lexington to a medical facility, which was really a low, but they had pen dudes over there, campers, FCI dudes, everybody mixed in. I was at Raybrook, where they had a camp at the facility, and I've been in the camp numerous times over there. One of my right-hand dudes from my city was over there in that camp. And pretty much, man, I've been in every security level you could be in. I've seen them all. And for me, I gotta say this, penitentiary's dangerous. Some dudes are like, man, I'd rather be in the pen. If it wasn't for all the violence, then I probably would too. But you know what? What comes with violence also comes respect. But there's also dudes that do nonsense in penitentiaries, man. They're running around sticking people for no reason. They're running around ending lives because they got nothing better to do that day. My allergies are getting ready to get busy. The weather's changing. Could you find a location of an inmate? If he's a federal inmate, go on federal inmate lookup. Google that, and you'll find him. Were you a CO or a I was a convicted felon, brother. At the age of 24, sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. Really, my convictions were for nonviolent crimes. I am the dude, no matter if people get mad or not. I'm the dude that wrote the compassionate release argument that has helped thousands and thousands of people get out of federal prison. I wrote the Conrado Cam 2 case out of Texas. From my prison cell, told them, hey, man, I know I'm right about this. And we practiced. I said, you want to try it? We'll try it. We practiced on his case, and I was able to get Conrado out. I got another cell phone, man, that I purchased, an iPhone 15, I think it was. I purchased it a while ago. I always remember you mentioned the Atlanta USP. I mean, it's not really a USP anymore, but dudes that are there want you to think that it's a USP. Man, I'm in USP Atlanta. Yeah, all right. I mean, things happen there. Things still happen there. But, Debbie, looking good for 68 years old. Yeah, how old am I? I'm 40. Oh, I'm not 68. I've talked to him through emails, and I look up the chat for someone did time in Louisiana. Federal prison lookup. That's all. Google that. Federal prison inmate lookup. If he's in federal prison, you'll be able to type his name on there, and you'll be able to find out where he is, his prison number, his release date, all of that good stuff. Salute, Chad. Love your content. Well, listen, man, I appreciate everybody that's here, everybody that comes in. What about this nutcase, right? Over in Wisconsin. We got to be careful what we say, because, if we say anything too drastic, like, we'll get tagged. But, this kid takes out his parents, right? And plans to Trump, right? We'll say it like that. You know what I mean. Teen kid, man. Teen kid. Nikita Cassatt. Both of his parents, right? They're in they don't get found for 2 weeks, man. Chad, you need a puppy. Man, I got 2 little boys, man. From Queens, you the real, genuine brother. Keep up the good work. Josh, I appreciate you, brother. You think the feds will pick up Yellow Beezy? I think there's a very good possibility. I think, man, the stuff with Lil Baby is probably dangerous too. Do you think the feds will pick up? I just answered that. Hey, Chad. I do believe robots are going to run the prisons eventually. Listen, I think that, we'll talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about this kid for a minute, right? He's got to be one of the dumbest, right? Offs his parents. Now he's going to prison for the rest of his life. His mom was Tatiana, 35-year-old. His stepfather was 51. 35, 51, okay. Stepfather, Donald Mayer. I don't know how to say this because someone will get mad from Wisconsin. Waukesha, whatever. Dude, like, two first-degree murder charges, right? He's hit. He's all the way hit, man. The newly released federal affidavit says there's probable cause to believe the crimes committed also included. So they're going after him for what he's plotting on, on who. This kid's done. Going to prison for the rest of his life. It's not looking good, bro. It's over with. He's another one of them, dumb criminals, right? You big dummy. 17 years old, man. You big old dummy. 17 years old, don't even have a clue about life. You don't know nothing about life. You just think that you do, man. Think about that. 17, go back 7 years. 7 years don't even seem like that long, right? But 7 years ago, this kid was 10 years old riding a bicycle around the neighborhood probably. Falling off the bike, mom picks him up. How old was mom? Mom was 35. Oh, mom had the son at 18. Not always a good thing. Doesn't mean that all moms, doesn't mean a bad thing, but, it's kind of like kids having kids, man. And you see what the problem is when kids have kids. This kid was obviously a nutcase. Step-pops might have a couple dollars. Now he's going to jail. The Carmelo Anthony thing, right? Big thing all over the media. I did that short immediately. I knew that it was going to become, what it was. People were going to pick sides. Some people were going to say this. Some people are going to say that. The evidence is going to come out, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I mean, everyone can have their opinion, right? My opinion might be different than someone else's. But usually I base my opinion on, or my hypothesis, right? My educated guess. I try to base it on facts. And facts don't just mean what's written in a police report. Facts also, go with life experiences, man. 17, I was going to prison for a 14-year bid. You ever want to do an interview, hit me up, bro. Would love to talk to you. Email me. Amy, give him that email. Oh, look at Amy already on it. You know what I mean? And that's why Amy's part of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Yeah, man, if you want to do an interview or something, man, definitely let me know. I would appreciate it. Big shout out to, man, dude, I don't know if this dude wants me to say this. Sometimes people do things, right? Sometimes people do things and they don't always want to be known. But I'm going to throw this out there, man. Sean, you want me to say your last name? Sean, man, donated some stuff for the reentry house, some clothes. I think he put some gift cards in there, he said. They're on the way, man, to kind of help these dudes over there with clothing and maybe some hygiene products. We're going to have a meal over there this week. Just trying to do some real good things, man, with the reentry house. Big shout out to Sean, man. Big shout out, man. I'm going to continue to say this. Ben Seaborn, Mid-Atlantic Construction in Oklahoma. None of this stuff would be possible without Ben. It might have happened, but it might have happened 5 years from now, man. I was trying to put it together, and it was a mountain that, I couldn't climb on my own. Ben stepped in and said, hey, bro, I know that this is your dream. This is what you want to do. I got you, man. So, Ben, man, thank you to Ben Seaborn, man. Big thank you to him, man. And all the dudes at the house, man, they also say thank you. We're putting this thing in order. It's been taking a while. You guys, and I had talked a little bit on that video about, the brother. Oh, that brother got out of detox today, right? Demetrius got out of detox today. We sat down. We had a talk. Like I always say, men respect men. He did a bunch of time in Alabama. Gang member at one time. Might even bring him on for an interview. But he ended up, he came home from detox today, getting himself together. His room was still there. His property's still there. We talked. And pretty much, hopefully he's going to get himself together, go out and get a job. We don't want guys on DSS just laying around. We want guys to go out and get a job. We don't want you to have idle time. We want you to get a job. We want you to be around positive people. We want you to meet new friends. You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? A lot of dudes, man, when they're out there, you're caught up in addiction. I know it's a struggle, an everyday struggle. And, you get around these people, man, and you're pushing, you're doing what you're doing. You're getting high. Man, there's some weirdos in here tonight, man. These are the dudes that are going to be in federal prison, man, that was, they're on that computer in the basement, homie. Like, yo, what's up, dope player? What you doing, man? Dudes that say wild stuff like that are probably not doing the right thing. I regret it. I didn't do all the time, but I did do time here and there. I got lucky with a thing called Impact Program. It's a Marine boot camp, and I did like 15 months as a first-time offender. Okay. Ghost with respect. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, we're gonna line some dudes up, man. Ghost. You guys seen Ghost in the reentry video, right? I think Ghost got shot at Beaumont. They were shooting at him from the gun tower when he was, he had to put in some work, man, for the car, for the whip, right? Almost got himself killed putting in work for the car. The car don't really care about you, man. When your ass got life, man, all these dudes go home. How many people from the car are gonna write you a letter and say, hey, bro, 10 years from now, I still remember what you did out there for us for our car, man. We love you, bro. We might have to talk again, brother. I see you, Dwight. I see you. So again, man, shout out to Sylvester, man. We're going to try to help Sylvester get this thing corrected. Try to make sure that he's all right. Anyone that can help, man, we appreciate that. Again, big shout out to Sean. That Duval County Jail thing, man. Again, man. These dudes, man, things are changing. They're starting to charge these people, man. Federal government started to get involved and say, yeah, we know you're law enforcement, but we also know you're a criminal, man. Devin Paul, I do have an audiobook option for my book. Email us, freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. Usually sell the books for $25, but if you want to make a donation tonight, I'm going to send you an audiobook if you send me an email no matter what. If you want to make a little donation while we're in here talking, you can do it in here. Saves all the nonsense, saves all the bullshit, whatever. And the money goes to a good cause. Do you think Elon will cross Trump? Hey, man. You ever read Master of the Game by Sidney Sheldon back in the day? Anything's possible. I don't know what Elon will do, but I do think that they probably like each other. How does it work when people who beef with each other in their city end up in the feds? They got to click up with each other. Usually, if you're from your city, man, you're riding with your car, man, all that stuff gets buried. The hatchet gets buried, man. Usually. Unless you do something to someone's cousin and they want some get back or whatever. Things happen. But most of the time, man, dudes work it out. Most of the time, people work it out. You think Little Dirk is done? I don't have to answer that. You know what I'm saying? Debbie with the 149, we appreciate you. Thank you. The cheeseburger? What the? They could have at least made that a BLT. I'm just playing. Thank you. Service with purpose is better than being useless and worthless. You heard? Devin Paul, I just got your email, man. If you don't get an audiobook tonight, you'll have one in the morning. I'm usually up at 4:35. So put your phone on silent if you get email updates because you don't want to get woke up at 4:45 with an audiobook from Blood on the Razor Wire TV. The BOP, like I said earlier, Billy, West Virginia, right? Career law enforcement guy. How do you fix the BOP? We're going to do a clip on it. You have to fix it. But how do you fix it? You got to change the character, man. The character and the culture. You got to change the culture. Usually when you got a career law enforcement guy going into a place like the BOP, they don't fix nothing, man. The BOP is so destroyed. The Federal Bureau of Prisons is so destroyed that fixing it can't happen with a BOP director. But I can tell you how to fix it. Trump should have, you guys might have caught Kyle. Right? Give Kyle a shout out, right? You guys might have caught Kyle talking about, the former prisoner that, they tried to give him the job. I know there's been some talk that he rejected it. He refused it, didn't really want it. You know why? Because there's a bunch of bullshit that comes with that job. You know what I mean? But you need someone that knows what it's like. And if you put a former prisoner in there to tell cops what to do, woohoo, how mad are they going to be? You got to change the culture, man. You got to put body cams on the police in there. You have to give people incentives, man. I've said this 1,000 times. Let people really earn their way out of prison. You don't need reentry coordinators in D.C. saying, hey, look, we're going to get rid of the First Step Act credits, the Second Chance Act credits. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to make it only 60 days, and then they come back a couple days later and fix it. Like, come on, man. Like, we don't have the money or the resources. It's a whole lot cheaper to send people home than it is to keep them in prison. Remember that. Chad, you want to move out your hood and stay in country house? Or you want to stay in your old city hoods? Well, I live out in the country now, player. I don't want. That's like asking me if I want to be in Big Sandy. You want to be in Big Sandy or you want to be in Raybrook? I want to be in Raybrook, man. You want to be in Big Sandy? I value my life, man. I've been through too much for my story to end like that. You know what I'm saying? Been through way too much for my story to end like that. So, I want to stay focused and live my best life. And I want everyone that's part of this channel, everyone that's, that's been here since day one, man, live your best life. Think about things before you do them, man. You have to think about things before you do them. I don't know, man. Just, stay focused. Check out the thing about Sylvester. If you can, man, we'd appreciate it. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to put that information up. I'm going to call this other dude right now that did all the time in ADX. Hopefully we can line that up. Mike Saylor, if you're still tuning in, I'd like to line that thing up with you tomorrow. My boy Mike, man, at the halfway house. Let's make it happen. Life look like that, man. Life looks good, man. I'm happy that I'm free, brother. Happy that I can, be able to go out and buy some food. Me and Mike were supposed to do an interview the other day. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the tranny in my car blew, and I've just been all over the place, man, trying to figure out. Your boy can't be running around on his Nikes. He's got to get a whip. Working on getting that for the last couple of days. That's why that thing got messed up. Got a lot of stuff going on, but Trump should free Cain Velasquez. Trump doesn't have the power to do so because that is a state case. If he was in the feds, I'm sure Dana White would have made moves and he would be free already. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's listening in tonight, if you got a compelling story, you've been in the street, you've been in the trenches, you've been to federal prison, you've been to state prison, you want to share your story, share your experience, email us, get with us. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We get ready to go, man. You already know what it is, man. Tell your kids tonight that you love them, man. Because you don't want your son to be the next Carmelo Anthony. Well, maybe the one that was hooping and he did some good things with his life. But not the kid in Texas, right? You don't want your son to be this kid from Wisconsin, man, that does the unthinkable. You don't want your son to be that dude, man. Let him know that you love him, that you care about him, help mold him. Just raise him up, man. Raise him up. Be the best father you can be. We'll get ready to get out of here, man. You guys know what it is. We're going to start putting the documentaries together again. We'll start doing the interviews. Going to get them live interviews popping. Anybody that wants to do a live interview, man, we're in Rochester, New York. You want to promote what you're doing, promote your book, promote your life, promote your YouTube channel, promote your Instagram, promote whatever you're doing in life. Hit us up, man. You got a compelling story, man. We'll bring you down for an in-person interview. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, with respect. Amy, big shout out to you. With respect, we're out.